So we're taking a look at 4 ultra rare comic books, one of which just came to my attention for the first time. And I thought I should put together a list of, some that I was already aware of, and now this new one, just as a fun video about stuff that you may not be aware of. And there's actually interesting points of discussion throughout the entire video. So stay tuned. Before we hop into it, I want to remind you we have a giveaway here on the YouTube channel every single month. If you stay subscribed, every single video that you comment on is an entry into the giveaway. I randomly pick a comment at the end of the month from a random video, and that person is the winner. This month we're giving away a Todd McFarlane Spidey, and we also have a giveaway over at brycecomics.com. Let's hop over to brycecomics.com here and take a look at some of the stuff that's currently listed. Speaking of Todd McFarlane Spideys, there's a whole bunch of 9.8 Spideys on there, some key issue first appearance to Spideys. There's that Todd McFarlane full Todd signature on that one. Tons of goodies at brycecomics.com. Use code COLLECT10 for 10% off. That code is always active. Follow me over on Whatnot. We're doing $1 starts on slabs for the foreseeable future on Fridays, and you get a chance to win a $1,000 store credit. Giveaways every 5 minutes. Ton of fun. Use the link down in the description, and you'll get $15 towards your first purchase on Whatnot. So let's hop into the computer here and take a look at this list of super rare books, and we'll talk about the one that I just acquired next. But first I want to talk about this Black Panther #1 J. Scott Campbell partial sketch cover. This is the first cover appearance of Shuri as the Black Panther, but I think what makes it even more collectible than that, because of the, poor response from the movie of Shuri, just an awesome J. Scott Campbell cover. So this is a partial sketch, and this is all coming from recalledcomics.com. Big shout out to recalledcomics.com. I love this website. It's not the best design, but somebody put a ton of work and effort, and it appears to be, mostly for the love of the hobby. And so I really appreciate whoever's behind Recalled Comics. And in fact, if you know who it is, or if you're watching this and you'd like to come on the show, I would love to have you on the show to show us around your website and show us some of the cool things that are, I know there's just treasures in here that whoever made this site would have a lot of cool things to share. So reach out if you're interested in coming on the show. So these are all the different covers listed here for this issue, but the partial sketch cover, according to Marvel Source, was printed in an extremely low quantity and distributed for free exclusively to fans. This is what's so crazy. 2 of the books on this list were given away for free at Comic Convention. This was apparently given out on the last day of New York Comic Con 2009 in the last panel of the day, Marvel's Your Universe panel, and it shows the room. The panel was informal, taking questions from fans, and the panel overran with a significant number of attendees leaving before the end with the enticement of a free incentive copy of Black Panther #1, not enough to keep them in the room. In hindsight, some will certainly regret that decision given the current value of the Campbell Incentive Edition. So they were told if they come to this panel, they would get a free incentive copy of Black Panther #1. A whole bunch of people didn't stay till the end and left and didn't get it, and now we're seeing this fetch some incredibly high numbers. Here's one listed for $4,950, which is super high. If we come over to Key Collectors, wanted to show, it just says variant, and this was one thing that was confusing to me for a while, is like with this Wolverine #1 we're going to talk about next, is it just says variant. I'm like, how is just a regular variant so valuable? Because usually just when it just says variant, that means it was an open order variant. And because if it was a store exclusive, it would typically say either the store name or the artist name. But if it just says variant edition, it's usually an open order book. So now I'm understanding that it just means that it was, through Marvel, I believe. So this one, Marvel printed. It wasn't a store exclusive. It wasn't an incentive. Marvel just made a variant of this book, and then they decide how to distribute it, and they gave it away to fans for free. If we come over here and look at the CGC census, it shows that there are 64 total graded copies. One restored. Somehow somebody tried to restore a copy of this, probably trying to get away with, it's a 6.5. They were probably trying to do something to disguise a defect. But there's 27 total 9.8s on the census, with 11 of them being signature series. But we just don't see this book change hands a whole bunch. Here's GP analysis. The 9.8 sketch cover, the last sale was in December for $1,100, which was lower, than it was selling out the gate, like in 2016. It's almost like people are so turned off by the character of Shuri that it affected the value of this book, I would say, because why would it be worth so much more in 2016? Only thing I can think of is the movie, and the movie actually hurt the value of the book. So anyways, last sale was $1,100, which was an all-time record low. The lowest recorded sale was the last sale for $1,100. All right, let's move on to the next one. The next one is the one that I recently got in a collection, and it's this. It's the Wolverine #1 Silva sketch cover. It might still be available. It's still available while I'm recording this, but we'll see if it's still there. It's the Wolverine #1 from 2020 Silva sketch cover. And when somebody reached out wanting to do a trade for one of my grails on the website, I was like, what is this Wolverine #1 from 2020 that he had listed as a $3,000 value? And I just didn't know about it. And this is it. And let's talk here about the backstory of how this came to be. So this variant was given away, once again, given away at C2E2 Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo 2020, just before COVID-19 pandemic, to selected Marvel super fans, including anecdotally one at the Marvel Comics Empire panel. Each comic came with a certificate of authenticity below that states a 25 copy print run. So my copy does not have the COA, which is disappointing. But you know, it happens. It's not encapsulated with the comic. It's separate, and when these things change hands, you know, sometimes COAs get lost. And if we go and look at the CGC census for this book, it's not, we can see that, you know, there's only 21 total copies graded on the census. And if we come over here to eBay, we can see that this was also the art for the 1 in 25. So the 1 in 25 was the RB Silva cover, and then this sketch edition was the promotion. So here's one listed for $6,000, and this one you can see also does not have the COA. And then there's another one, a CBCS 9.4, listed for $5,000 that does have the COA, and this one says 24 of 25. I mean, it's just a piece of paper that somebody wrote on with a pen, like, you know, but it is what it is. Very cool book. Another thing that was given away at a comic convention. So, you know, anytime you're at a con, if there's mention of a Marvel comic being given away, it might behoove you to try to acquire one of those, because oftentimes, even though they're free, they end up being worth a ton of money. And I think that's what a lot of people missed with this Black Panther one. They're like, they're giving it away. It's not going to be worth much. We see it time and time again that giveaway copies and circumstances can sometimes result in super high values on comics. There's also, sometimes they do giveaways at like movie premieres. Like I know there was an Avengers comic that was given away at the movie premiere, and that one's worth a ton of money. So very cool to see this. We come and pop over to GP analysis. Here's the Silva sketch cover in a 9.8. The last sale was in July of this year for $2,040. So I have to decide what I want to list it at. There was the highest sale was $9,995. Can you imagine getting $10,000 for a book that you received for free? And obviously, you know, if this book was only given away to super fans, that would explain why it doesn't sell a lot, because they're fans, they're super fans. They don't want to sell the book, but for 10 grand they would, you know. So there's a sale for 9,000, 10,000, 2,500, 5,000, 2,040, and 3,600. That's all the recorded sales right there. So I need to decide what I want to list it for. Go check the website. I will have decided by then. Next on the list, we have Venom Lethal Protector #1, the White Error Edition. I didn't realize that this was so rare. And there's something weird about this one as well. So this was a manufacturing defect. There's multiple manufacturing defects on this. The white one is the most rare, and then there's the black one, and they're both super cool. And it was just, you know, a manufacturing error where there was failures in the embossing process, where either the foil was not applied or not enough heat was used, leading to the foil coming off of the comic. Some residue of the foil may remain. I tried to find this 9.6, and I did find it, the sole 9.6. And here on Recalled Comics, it actually says, in mid-October 2014, there were 137 black cover printing errors. So what's interesting about this, it's 10 years later, mid-October, here we are, mid-October of 2024, exactly 10 years later. So back then it had 137 copies on the census, and now it has 339 copies on the census. So an additional 200 copies. Now, One thing is some of these could be ghost numbers. A ghost number on the CGC census is when somebody cracks it out, presses it, and resubmits it, and then doesn't turn in the label, and so the old grade will stay on there. So sometimes somebody might resubmit a book 5 times. If they don't turn in that label, it'll add 5 more numbers to the census when really it's the same one book. Very important, folks. If you're doing CPR, if you're cracking books out, send in the labels to CGC. They'll take it off the census. You don't have to send it with your book if you're afraid that it's going to affect their opinion on the grade. If they know you cracked it out, you can send it in later, completely separate from your submission, just in an envelope. And it does everyone a favor with keeping the census more accurate. But it could be slightly inflated because of that. But going back to this over here, it says including a 99 and a 10. So in 2014, there was 199 and 110, and now there are 2 10s and still 199. So in the last 10 years, there was 200 copies added, only 1 additional 10 and no 99. So that's interesting to see. It says a single white cover printing error. So I found the actual book. You come over here to Heritage. It's sold at Heritage back in 2018. So here we can see the sale from 2018, the white cover printing error. It's the only white cover printing error on GP analysis. And what's weird about it is this cert number doesn't pull up. And if you click this little button, it'll take you to the actual cert. That's one of the things I love about GP analysis. And look, it says the item cannot be found. Please check that you entered it correctly. And it is entered correctly. So if you type this in to CGC 00933999001, it says item not found. So I don't have time to do this, but if anybody is bored and interested in this, if you want to call CGC and leave a comment, I'll pin it on this video. I think it would be very interesting. Call and ask customer service, what happened to the cert number? Why is it not showing up? And find out if there are any other of this variant, because I can't find on the CGC census this error variant. The only way I know how to do it would be to find the cert number and then click that. Because like if you come over here and look at the census for the black, it doesn't show any of the other variants. It's just the black variant. So it's very difficult to find. What I want to know is, why is the white cover not showing up on the census, and how many of the white covers are there? So if you're bored and interested in doing that, that would be very cool. All right, the last book I want to talk about is interesting because it's just an incentive, okay? So the other books that we've talked about so far had circumstances around it. This book is interesting. The Star Wars Vader Down #1. It's the Chip Zdarsky like partial sketch cover, and it's a 1 in 4,999 incentive. So you had to order 4,999 copies of the regular covers combined with incentive covers or store exclusives to qualify for the 1 in 5,000. So a couple interesting points. Number one, when you're a retailer, if you do a store exclusives, those count towards the incentive run. So if I do a store exclusive with 5,000 copies, I would qualify for one of these. And also, you know, however many 1 in 100s and 1 in 25s, et cetera, et cetera. So your exclusive print count counts towards that, which is interesting because if a whole bunch of stores do store exclusives, Marvel has a high minimum order quantity. That means there's going to be a lot of incentive covers out there because you qualify for it. And so if it's like, that's why some incentive covers say it's just like, you know, a Black Panther 3, the first appearance of Tosin Oduye, for example, a 1 in 25 is very valuable because there were no store exclusives for that. Nobody did a store exclusive for Black Panther 3, you know, and so there's not a ton of those 1 in 25. So it's an interesting thing to keep in mind, but there were plenty of store exclusives for Vader Down, so there were a significant amount of these out there, and I just think it's cool because I like the art and I like the character of Darth Vader, and those two things combined, I just think it's a cool cover. 1 in 5,000, well, 1 in 4,999, which I think is a jab that Marvel did at DC, because right around the same time there was Dark Knight the Master Race that had a 1 in 5,000, and so whatever, they just made it a 4,999. But the last sale being $1,279 with a low sale this year of $900. So this one has also definitely come down since release. So like when it was first released, it was selling for around $3,000, and there was a low sale this year of $900. So this is another one that maybe the trend here, like I said with the Black Panther book with Shuri, maybe it didn't have so much to do with the movie, and it's just more the market in regards to high ratio incentive or rare books. In the beginning, there's like, you know, a lot of FOMO when everyone becomes aware of it and collectors want to get it right away. And then over time, you know, that demand falls off. So maybe there is less to do with movies on this than the takeaway is like high ratio incentives. If you're patient, you can probably pick it up for cheaper. So it's hard to paint a broad brush with things like this, but it's definitely interesting and worth considering. So that's it for this video, guys. Just 4 books that I think are super cool. I love rare modern books, and you should collect what you love for whatever reason. I like backstory, I like the rarity, I like the art, I like rare moderns. And I want to say thank you for sticking with me all the way to the end of the video. Don't forget the giveaway, subscribe, comment, and like. Head over to Bryce Comics, sign up for that newsletter to get first access to rarities and new inventory every time it comes through. We have some new collections coming through very soon, and I hope to see you over on Whatnot for $1 starts on slabs. Hope you're staying safe out there, folks, and we'll catch you in the next video. Bye.